But why think that if the universe has an explanation of its existence, that this explanation must be God? Well, it's because the universe is everything, nature, time, and space, including all nature, time, and space. This brings us to the next argument, the Leibnizian cosmological argument. Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, that's a fun name to say. Leibniz was a German philosopher, a mathematician, a metaphysician, and an expert in logic, who is recognized for his independent invention of the differential and integral calculus. He also crafted an argument for the existence of God that continues to be discussed today by leading philosophers in academia. Some refer to his case as the argument from contingency, but it's most commonly known as the Leibnizian cosmological argument. Consider the deep thoughts of Leibniz one step at a time. Premise 1. Everything that exists has an explanation of its existence, either in the necessity of its own nature or in an external cause. Premise 2. If the universe has an explanation of its existence, then that explanation is God. 3. The universe exists. 4. Therefore, the explanation of the universe's existence is God. The fourth step of the argument is a deductive conclusion that logically follows if the three premises are true. Moreover, this also means that if the three premises are merely probably true, then one is completely rational in affirming the final conclusion. So the question is raised, are the premises true or even probably true? Well, surely no reasonable person will deny the third premise, that the universe exists. What about the first premise? Is it true or probably true? Well, let's think about it. We sure like to find explanations to all things. Indeed, it's the job of the scientist to find these explanations. And moreover, it seems that anything and everything must have an explanation of its existence. It's either contingent upon something else, and if it's not, then it must exist necessarily. Well, with that said, the universe sure seems to be a contingent type of thing. Indeed, most scientists would affirm that the universe doesn't have to exist. After all, if Big Bang cosmology is true, then the universe has not always existed, and anything that has ever failed to exist, or even could fail to exist, is necessarily not necessary. Now, some committed atheists contend that while this is true of everything else, well, the universe is different. Yeah, that's the ticket. They go on to deny the first premise by saying things like, the universe just exists without an explanation, and there's no explanation needed. But this commits what is known as the taxi cab fallacy. You don't want to do that. This is a logical error, and it occurs when one hops in the taxi cab, so to speak, and assumes a certain worldview, attempting to make particular points, but then jumps out of the system of thought when it goes against a certain presupposition that they blindly support. This is not good reason to reject the premise. So it all comes down to the second premise. But why think that if the universe has an explanation of its existence, that this explanation must be God? Well, it's because the universe is everything, nature, time, and space, including all nature, time, and space. This means that all nature is contingent upon something supernatural. All space is contingent upon something spaceless, and thus something that would be immaterial, since matter requires space. Now, all time would then be contingent upon something timeless, and thus eternal without beginning. A supernatural, spaceless, immaterial, timeless, eternal, and beginningless, which also seems to exist by a necessity of its own nature, that type of thing in which the universe is contingent seems to be what we mean by God. Well, therefore, God exists.